buscando cosas bonitas. Visité todas las tiendas y nada me complacía. Mi mujer no iba a creerme que las tiendas estaban vacías. De repente en una tienda yo vi un muñeco triste, lloraba sin cesar, pobrecito, yo me dije. Cuando me acerqué a la tienda el muñeco era barrigón, feo como nadie, tenía roto el pantalón. Con todo día entré a la tienda a preguntar el precio del muñeco y la dueña me gritó: ¡aquí me lo queremos! Arranqué con el muñeco ignorando la razón. La vecina a mí me dijo que el muñeco era un bandido. Arranqué con el muñeco ignorando la razón. A mí me dijo que el muñeco era un atrevido.
Joe, the shirt is off the cuff. That's Muñeco Bandido by Papa Ross. Did you like that? That was Papa Ross and his song Muñeco Bandido. You know what? I'm going to play a little bit more of that. Hold on. Fuck that shit. You feel that bounce? Oh, you don't get that anywhere else. Yeah. Okay, that's enough of that. Happy VD 2014 edition. And by VD, I'm not referring to syphilis. I'm referring to Valentine's Day. Today is Valentine's Day in the year of our Lord 2014 here on Joe the Shirt's Off the Cuff. Welcome, everybody. Today, I busted my ass to get this show out today, almost on time. I'm a half hour late, but I really want to get this done now because I have to go to work in a little bit, about an hour and a half, and by the time I get back, it's going to be like, I'm not going to be able to do the show until like 8:30, 9 o'clock, and by that time, Valentine's Day is pretty much over for most of you guys on the East Coast. It's just winding down for you guys in the West Coast and the rest of the planet, where the fuck you are. So, here I am. I'm doing it today, now, and then I got to clean my ass off and get my shit together and go to work. But I want to do this now, today, hoy. That was Papa Ross and Muñeco Bandido. I enjoyed that so much, actually. A lot of fun. Also, for those of you who were interested, yesterday I was on television yet again. That'll be my, I think, fourth time on television ever. Okay, my first time I was only about 19 years old. When I was interviewed by a local news network on the concept of flirting. And I said, you should really learn how to smile, which I do know how to do. Second time I was on TV was actually a national broadcast. I was on The Price is Right. I was the head page, and I was assisting the very first wheelchair player on The Price is Right. I was the guy assisting that guy, first wheelchair contestant ever on The Price is Right, back with Bob Barker and Rod Roddy. So that was a gang of fun. He lost, but I don't think that was my fault. And now, of course, this is the second time I've been on Time Warner Cable on the TV show Vicky Wagner's Brash Babble, which is the second time I'm doing it, and I had a good time with it, and it was a gang of fun, and I got to just, be myself and talk a lot of bullshit, which is what I do. But what's really great is this time I got the DVD. That's right. For all of you out there that want to see me live, I will be putting the DVD, the video of it. It's a half-hour long show with me, Vicky Wagner, and Leah Wyman, comedian Leah Wyman, lovely lady. I'll be putting that on sometime today. It's not going to be soon, unfortunately. It might not be till tomorrow morning because, like I said, I'm working late today. But I will be putting it on sometime this week, either today or tomorrow. That's a definite. Okay, and we had a good time, and it's a blast, and putting it out there for you guys. So it is Valentine's Day, and I know that a lot of you have mixed emotions about Valentine's Day. Actually, before I get into that, there's something I want to talk about. Something that came up on last night's show over on Brash Babble. We were talking about pet peeves. That's a big deal for Vicky. She puts out a pet peeve of the day. She tries to put out one at least once a day, more often than not about 4 or 5 times a week. But she puts it out there, and I do have one particular pet peeve that I find interesting, and well, for me is I think that people have too many pet peeves. That's my pet peeve, believe it or not. I think that people complain about too much shit. And the thing that really occurred to me was people on Facebook who get so angry when they get requests to play games like Candy Crush or Papa Pear or Bubble Witch. Or you get the idea. You know what I'm talking about here. And they get so upset that they get all these requests to play these games. And then they write on their Facebook pages, stop asking me to play Candy Crush. Stop asking me to play Bubble Witch. Stop asking me to play Vegas slots. And I'm like, how does it actually affect you in any fucking way whatsoever that somebody asks you to play, a video game with you? What does it hurt? You don't have to acknowledge them. You don't have to delete them. You don't have to ignore them. You don't have to unfriend them. I mean, all you have to do is I take that. All you have to do is just ignore them. It's not that big a fucking deal. It's a request to play a video game. You just go, nah, that's it. You're done. I don't understand why people get so fucking upset about this. It's stupid to get upset about something that's so trivial. I don't know. Anyway, we're talking about Valentine's Day, and I know, like I said, it's a split decision for a lot of you guys on how you feel about Valentine's Day. Because if you're not in a relationship, you're alone, you feel a lot of times like a fucking loser. I'm not one of those people. When I was single on Valentine's Day, it didn't really bother me all that much because then I just go trolling at bars for lonely women. Valentine's Day, you go to a fucking dive bar, there's going to be a gang of lonely, desperate women looking to, be able to snuggle. And if they have to trade pussy for snuggling, they'll do it. All right? So, good for you single guys. Single guys, if you know how to work a lonely, distraught woman on Valentine's Day, you will get some pussy. So I say you go out there tonight, guys. You go out there. Ladies, you go out there. You want some snuggling? You might have to trade a little pussy, get some dick in the deal, but you know what? You'll get a little something, something, something. And who knows? You might meet the man you're going to marry and have children with and live with the rest of your life, or eventually divorce. Who knows? And maybe it's a billionaire and you'll end up rich. Who knows? And as for you guys, that really... as a man, it never bothered me. As a woman, I don't think it should bother people. One of the things we talked about last night, in last night's show, we were talking about there's apparently a holiday in China. It's like the number one holiday in China right now. It's Singles Day. As opposed to Valentine's, it's Singles Day, where you celebrate the fact that you are single, you are alone, and you don't need to be with anybody. And you don't need to be with anybody, but you want to be with somebody. Now, for those of you, and then there's for all of those people out there that are in a relationship, excuse me. That's good. For those of you that are in a relationship, like myself, me and my girlfriend, the Russian, been together for a full decade now. It's 10 whole fucking years. There's a lot of pressure for some people when they're in a relationship, to impress the person that they're with, to make them feel loved and validated and desirable, and to reaffirm your relationship, and that can be tough on some people. And here at Off the Cuff, the Russian and I, we do not make that big a deal out of Valentine's Day. I mean, I'll be the first one to tell you, she's got flowers, she's got balloons, and she's got a card. I spent $20, okay? I didn't make that big deal of it. We're not going out tonight. We're probably going to go out either tomorrow or Sunday night, have a little dinner, a little romantic dinner. But we're not doing anything tonight because, like I said, I'm working late. And she thinks that spending a lot of money on Valentine's Day for a fancy dinner and flowers and all that bullshit and gifts is a waste of time and money because it's a ripoff. And I'm inclined to agree with her. And then, of course, there are other things that become involved in this whole rigmarole. But let's go, you know what, Let's talk about Valentine's Day a little bit. Valentine's Day, for some of you may know that there's a bit of a debate on how Valentine's Day started. One of the more accepted ideas was back in the ages of ancient Rome. Roman soldiers were not allowed to get married because being married meant that you would not put out your best effort because you were worried about taking care of your wife, your children, your family back home, your home. So they preferred it that Roman soldiers be single and most likely have sex with other Roman soldiers. But what they outlawed marriage for a lot of Roman soldiers. So then you had this priest named Valentine who performed secret marriages for Roman soldiers so that they could, be with the ones they love. They could be promised to the ones they love and, be together on some level, even if they were, thousands of miles apart, fighting some God-forbidden war. When it was found out that he was doing this, he was, of course, executed. And thus we have St. Valentine's Day. Now, one of the biggest criticism we have about St. Valentine's Day is that it's not even St. Valentine's Day anymore. People just call it Valentine's Day, but it's St. Valentine that came up with it. That's how you get the term Valentine's Day. One of the biggest problems we have, my friend Mary Schrammick mentioned this in one of her Facebook posts. It was that she doesn't like the whole idea that this fake made-up holiday is forced upon us. That that she feels Scrooge-ish, she said, because she doesn't feel like celebrating the holiday on the day because it's made up and it's a Hallmark holiday. It's made up by greeting cards and flower companies and jewelry companies and candy companies to get you to buy shit when you really don't have to. And you should be able to express your love any day of the year. And yeah, that's true and all. But then I come back with, well, all fucking holidays are fucking made up. Every holiday there is made up. There's no such thing as a holiday that is not made up. Well, a holiday, by definition, is something happened, we thought it was important, and we decided to commemorate it. That's a holiday. Every holiday is made up. Do you think Christmas really happened on December 25th? No. That was a date picked by, not at random, but on purpose by a Catholic Pope that wanted it to coincide with pagan holidays to get the pagans to become Catholic, okay? Same thing goes for Easter. Same thing goes for Halloween, Dia de los Muertos. Same thing goes, President's Day. You know why it's President's Day? Because we decided in this country we had too many holidays. Because we used to have Lincoln's birthday and Washington's birthday. We decided, you know what, that's too many holidays in the year. Let's combine those two and make it President's holiday. It's made up, just like every other fucking holiday, okay? Veterans Day is a made-up holiday. We decided that we wanted to commemorate our veterans, which is not a bad thing. I'm on board with that. But let's face facts. We decided to do it. We made it up. So I don't give a lot of credence to the whole idea that, Valentine's Day is a made-up holiday. You know what? They all are. Get over it, all right? They all are. 4th of July, we decided, okay, let's make this a holiday because we fought back the British, yay, us, that we don't have an exact date as to when Columbus reached the New World, even though there were people already here and the Vikings were here before him, but we celebrate Columbus Day as the discoverer of America. So we made up a holiday, what other made up holidays do we have? Arbor Day? We celebrate trees. What are we, fucking druids? Don't worry about it. You're not selling out to Hallmark and the candy companies and the jewelry companies just because you celebrate Valentine's Day. You've been a sellout for a long time, okay? We all are. We're total sellouts. What do you think your birthday is? Your birthday is you were born and your parents decided that this was a special day. So every year on your birthday, you get presents. Or if you don't, you have really bad parents. In any case, it's time for a break with more Papo Ross. Here's his first song was Muñeco Bandido, and his second song, Mujer No Es Cualquiera. I'm Joe the Shirt. I'm off the cuff. I'll be right back.
Andaba solo y delirante, viví aventuras sin detalles, nunca pensé tener amor. Tratando de cambiar el mundo a mi manera. manera aunque sin rumbo, más tu cariño me quemó. Buscando a ciegas un amante, toqué 1000 puertas en la calle para vencido terminar. Y fuiste tu el último intento, amor que hace cambiar el tiempo, descansa en mí para vivir. Mujer no es cualquiera, hay que tener muy grande el corazón para calmar con ternura mi ansiedad que era locura y hacerme un hombre feliz. Mujer no es cualquiera, te entrego las llaves de mi corazón.
Mujer no es cualquiera, tienen las llaves de mi corazón. For all you Anglos out there, that means you're a woman like no other. You have the keys to my heart. Joe the Shirt is off the cuff and back. Mad shout outs to everybody out there who's listening in, who, whether or not you have somebody today on this, the year of our Lord 2014, Valentine's Day, Saint Valentine, San Valentin. If you have somebody to celebrate with, great. If you don't have somebody to celebrate with, great. Who gives a shit? A lot of people just give, Valentine's Day to their mothers or their kids or whatever. You give one to your sister for all you care. If you live in that weird kind of Mormon family, who knows? It's time for Valentine's Day statistics, because nothing says romance like statistics. Okay. This year for Valentine's Day, it is expected that somewhere between 233 and 244 million roses will be sold for just this one day. Of those, 64% of the roses will be purchased by men, 36% will be purchased, of course, by women, and 1 out of 5 will be purchased for somebody's mom. 1 out of 5 roses is purchased for your mother. Now, of all the gifts that are given today, more than one half of all the gifts today will involve candy. Chocolate, your chocolate heart box, what have you, and of all this candy will account for $1.6 billion in revenue just in candy. Okay, which is paltry compared to how much money will be spent today overall for Valentine's Day between candy, flowers, jewelry, other types of gifts, furs, going out to dinner, champagne, alcohol. The United States will spend $18.6 billion. That's $18.6 billion with a B dollars just today to prove to somebody that you love them. Now, on average, how much will people spend personally? Well, the average man will spend roughly $175 today. So you consider, your flowers, your candy, your gift, and going out to dinner. All right. What will women spend? Well, women are pretty much cheap bitches when it comes to Valentine's Day. They will spend an average of about $88, on a gift for their man or significant other. So on average, Americans will spend roughly $131 today per person. Of the 313 million people that live in the United States, there will be purchased 145 million cards. That's right. Be it romantic, for your father, for your mother, for your friend, for your cousin, just a pal, 145 million cards. Now, there's a lot of presents going to be given out today, and you're probably wondering, what should I get my man for Valentine's Day? What would he appreciate the most for Valentine's Day? The answer, pussy. I can't give it to you any simpler than that, ladies. The number one present that a man would like to have today for Valentine's Day is sex. Pussy. Ass, magambo, okay? Some of that tail. That's what men want. Roughly more than 2/3 of all men that were polled and asked, what would you like most for Valentine's Day, said sex. I'm sorry, that's as cheap a present as you can really get, I mean, it takes roughly about 4 or 5 minutes. You don't have to buy him anything. You don't have to buy him flowers, jewelry, clothes, a hat, a card. Pussy. Just give him some pussy, and he will be perfectly happy to spend $200 on your ass. Now, compare that to how many women would like to have sex for Valentine's Day. You know how many? 30%. Out of all the women around that are celebrating St. Valentine's Day, only 30% would like to have sex today. Wow. That's quite a split. So, I think that's a little sad, actually. Now, I'm talking about how much money people are actually spending. What about the amount of money that people expect to be spent? Do you know how much men think a woman is going to spend on them? Now, what women actually spend is $88 on their man. What a man thinks that she'll spend is actually about $230. Guys, you're going to be disappointed. Now, men spend an average of $175 on their women. Do you know how much women expect men to spend? $200. So even though you're getting the better end of the deal, you still want more. You know what? And despite the fact that men spend $175 on Valentine's Day, they only expect to spend $100. Well, you guys are dumb. And women, despite the fact that they spend $88, are even cheaper than that. They only expect to spend $71. And of all the people in the United States, 20% of them plan on spending $0 on their significant other. That's it. I mean, you know, there are a lot of old married couples out there that just don't do this holiday anymore. You know, there's a lot of people out there that are not, that like I said, see it as a Hallmark holiday and not a big deal and nothing to really be celebrated in any way. And that's fine for them, you know. But like I said, me and the Russian, we don't do a big Valentine's Day thing. We don't go out for Valentine's Day. We think it's a ripoff, both in flowers and candy, and the restaurants tend to have prix-fix menus, you know, and typically the food is not all that great because they have a lot of people going in and out, so they're not really working their best, and they're overbooked, they're too busy, and you don't get the attention that you really want when you go out for dinner. So we're going to just go out either tomorrow night or Sunday, all right? Now, here's my favorite part of the show for today. How romantic is Valentine's Day really? Like I said, 2/3 of men, more than anything else, would rather just get laid for Valentine's Day. Only 30% of women would like to get laid for Valentine's Day. But how romantic is it the other way around? Do you know how many breakups happen on Valentine's Day? Now, here's a quick, interesting fact for you. At least I think so. My very first Valentine's Day show I did 2 years ago. And it was the very first time that I got hate mail. I got hate mail from a guy who was just outraged that I was even on the air. He wanted to know, who the fuck did I think I was? Why the fuck should anybody listen to me? Why don't I just get the fuck off the air? You know, it was Valentine's Day. I was talking about Valentine's Day, and he was just pissed. You'd think that I ran over his dog and fucked his mother. I swear to God. But, you know, he was incensed about it, and now we're also Facebook friends, which tells you something about how great I am. But Valentine's Day is not as romantic as you might think. A lot of bad things, mostly breakups, happen on Valentine's Day, believe it or not. Let me put it this way. Consider how often people break up. Okay? On Valentine's Day, you are 2.5 times more likely to break up than on any other day of the year. Uh-huh. What else? You are also more likely to get into a fight because Valentine's Day brings on all these expectations. And when these expectations, be it, you know, going out to dinner, a show, a nice gift, flowers, candy, or getting some pussy, somebody's going to be disappointed and there's going to be a fight. Okay? Also, on Valentine's Day, you're more likely to notice your partner's physical flaws. Okay? You are more likely to notice that she's getting fat. He's getting old. He's getting gray. she is not as smart as I thought she was. You are more likely to notice not just physical, but emotional, mental flaws in the other person. Whereas if it was just like, say, August 26th, you wouldn't give a shit. But because it's Valentine's Day, you expect a certain amount of specialness, you're pissed off. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how likely you are to break up. There are 6 spikes throughout the year where people tend to break up the most. All right, these are the 6 times where people are most likely to break up. The first spike is about 2 weeks, the 2-week period before Christmas. That's right. You are more likely to break up with somebody 2 weeks before Christmas. That's the 6th most likely time you are to break up. Why? Because it could be because, you know what, I don't like this person, I don't really love this person, and I don't feel like spending money or the holidays with this person. Because if you don't break up with them before Christmas, then you got to spend Christmas with them. And then, of course, you spend Christmas with them, you might as well stay with them till New Year's. And then you have New Year's. And then after New Year's, you got Valentine's Day coming up. And that's this whole bullshit, romantic crap, togetherness shit that you don't want to deal with. So you're very likely to break up with somebody 2 weeks before Christmas. Another time to break up with somebody, very popular time, is summer. Summer is very popular time for people to break up. You know what? Especially for younger people who are in school, like high school, college, graduate school. You have time off, and you're thinking to yourself, you know what? I don't want to deal with this shit next year when I get back to school. I'm going to break up with you now. The 4th most popular time to break up, believe it or not, Mondays. Or the Mondays. Yeah, but Monday is a very popular day to break up for a lot of reasons. You had a bad weekend, very good chance of that, and you figure it's the beginning of the week, get it out there, let them know about it, break it up. I'll let you know. When my ex-wife and I decided to get divorced, it was a Monday, plain and simple. 3rd most popular time to break up with anybody, believe it or not, April Fool's Day. I talked about this, like I said, 2 years ago, and one of the biggest reasons that people break up on April Fool's Day is because guys are stupid beyond words, and they will do a make-believe breakup with their girlfriend, and then go, April Fools! And then she's so pissed off already, sad and pissed off and emotionally crazy that she breaks up with him for real. And you know what, asshole? You deserve it. I'm sorry, you know what, guys? That joke ain't funny. 2nd most popular time to break up is spring break. Spring break is a very popular time to break up because, you know what? It's spring break. You're going to go to Cabo. You're going to go to Canada. You're going to go to Florida. You're going to go somewhere, and you want to go fuck your brains out with complete strangers that you're never going to see again, okay? That's what you want to do. So the last thing you want to do is worry about your girlfriend or your boyfriend that's not with you, because you're out there with your boys, you're out there with your girlfriends, and you're partying, you're drinking, you're smoking your weed, and you want to suck some dick. You want to get your dick wet. You don't want to worry about that bitch or that asshole back home who's probably cheating on you as well anyhow. So you decide to break up right before spring break so that you can have a clear mind, a clear slate, a clear conscience, because you're going to go party and fuck. And the number one time to break up throughout the year, believe it or not, Valentine's Day. Actually, it's not exactly Valentine's Day. It's usually the week before and the week after, and of course, during the actual day of Valentine's Day. You're 2.5 times more likely to break up than any other day of the year. But also like the week before and after. Because what happens is a lot of people come to the realization, I've gone to all this effort to provide a romantic time, to get to be with this person closer, to be more loving, to be more intimate, and it doesn't really work. Either they didn't come through on their end, or I wasn't feeling it on my end, and you finally decide, fuck this shit, this isn't worth it anymore, and you break up. It happens, believe it or not. And believe it or not, we're going to take another break. Man, the time just flies by. We're going to take a little break here with again, Papa Ross and his song, Por Ti Soy Feliz. I'm Joe the Shirt. I'm off the cuff. I'll be right back.
La dueña de mis sueños, la que cultiva mi vivir, como tierra sin tiempo que siempre da frutos, me hace sentir suave y fresca como brisa, te prefiere mi palmar, princesa por dentro. Tu sentimiento es grandeza espiritual, que no te daña la maldad de la gente y no te cambia el oro ni la plata.
Joe the Shirt is off the cuff yet again. Welcome back, everybody. That was more Papa Ross, Por Ti Soy Feliz. We're talking about Valentine's Day, and I'm almost done with this topic. Then I'm going to move on to some more general stories. But I'm still doing statistics, because like I said before, nothing says romance like statistics. Happy VD, everybody. Okay. All right, let's go through a few more statistics here. Let's see. Have you ever been dumped by, say, email or text or, I don't know, Facebook? Well, there's a good chance you have. About 27% of all women have admitted that they've been dumped electronically. You know, whether it be Facebook, text, emails, or the phone, 27% admit that they've been dumped. Now, 80% of men, amazingly enough, think that breaking up should be in person, face-to-face, and about 4% of men admitted that they have done it electronically. I mean, that's really the pussy way to go. I mean, if you're a dude and you break up with a woman, you know, via email or text or Facebook or, you know, even over the phone, that you're being a little bit of a bitch. Okay, I think you have the decency to do it in person. You know, unless there are exceptions to that. If you've only been dating like a week or two, I don't think you need a face-to-face for that one, you know. But if you've been dating, you know, for more than, like, say, I'm going to go, you know, 2 months, she deserves a face-to-face. Don't be a pussy, all right? Man up, all right? Sack up, you know. Now, when it comes to male-female relationships and how women assess how happy they are, 46% of women think that having a really, really great, beautiful house is a sign of their overall happiness and satisfaction in their lives, as opposed to 29% of women who think that it's better to have a successful man as a status symbol. So a woman would rather have your house than you. Okay, just letting you know out there, guys. 16% of women do not trust their men all that much, to the point that they would put a GPS tracker implanted in them so they can keep track of where their men are at all times. And ladies, if you feel the need to put a GPS tracker into your man, you probably shouldn't be with him in the fucking first place, okay? If you don't trust him enough, why be with him in the first place? Honestly, you're wasting your time. And let's talk a little bit about female masturbation, which there will be quite a bit of it being done today. More than 50% of women masturbate to just their own imagination. That's pretty good. I got to say, that's pretty impressive, you know. And 21% of women masturbate to porn. That's awesome. That's cool. And 10% of women masturbate while they're at work. That's awesome. I think that number should be higher. And here's the saddest number. 25%, 1/4 of all women have admitted to not masturbating at all, ever. And that's about as sad a thing as I've ever fucking heard. And finally, you may have noticed that it is Valentine's Day, and it is also the full moon. I mean, how romantic is that? And it's a Friday. I mean, this is like the perfect convergence. This is the perfect storm. 3 great things coming together, isn't it? You have Friday night. It's date night. You're supposed to go out. Fuck yeah. And you have the time. You don't have to worry about it because the next day is Saturday. Nobody has to go to work, so you can party all night. You can fuck all night. You can do whatever you want. And then it's Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day. It's romantic. It's sexy. It's hot. You are reaffirming your love, your relationship with each other, and then throw in a full fucking moon. If you can't get laid today, well, you're probably dead. I mean, you got the full moon, and you're probably thinking to yourself, well, how often does this happen? Well, it happens every 19 years. VD occurs during the full moon, or the full moon occurs during VD, however you want to look at it, every 19 years. So you guys go out, you enjoy yourselves tonight, or you stay in and enjoy yourselves tonight. You know, it's you got the one you love. You got a Friday night, so you don't need to worry about tomorrow. It's Valentine's Day, and you got the full moon to set the stage for you, set the mood, all right? You're not going to see this again to the year 2033, okay? A lot of you won't even be alive by that point. And in order, 2033, 2052, 2071. If I make it to 2071, I'll be over 100 years old. And the next one after that is 2090. And Lord knows I'm not going to make it that long. So really, enjoy yourselves tonight, okay? All right. We got a few short stories here I'd like to take a look at real quick. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Danica Patrick. Danica Patrick is she is a race car driver. She's not well liked by a lot of the other drivers or male fans. I mean, she's an attractive woman, you know, and she's very good for the sport because Danica Patrick inspires in young women the idea of, you know, you can do anything you want to be. You can even be a race car driver, NASCAR driver, Formula One driver. You know, just because you're a woman doesn't mean you can't be a race car driver. But according to NASCAR Hall of Fame driver Richard Petty, he says that Danica Patrick could win a Sprint Cup Series race only, and this is a quote now, if everybody else stayed home, end quote. Apparently he doesn't think much about her driving abilities. The 7-time champion made the comment during a Sunday appearance at the Canadian Motorsports Expo in Toronto. Petty also said Patrick gets attention only because she's a woman, but also added that publicity is good for NASCAR. Here's another quote. If she had been a male, nobody would ever know if she'd show up at a racetrack. This is a female deal that's driving her. There's nothing wrong with that because that's good PR for me. More fans come out. People are more interested in it. She has helped draw attention to the sport, which helps everybody in the sport. But at the same time, he doesn't think that she's a very good driver. You know, so it's like she would win if nobody else showed up. Now, this is a story that I thought was very telling, I thought. Past a certain age for women, it is recommended by a lot of medical institutions that they get mammograms, that they get x-rays, you know, that they get annual mammograms, like past the age of 40. In some countries, past the age of 50, between 40 and 50, what have you. It's recommended that they get annual mammograms, breast exams, so they can detect and treat cancer. Here's the thing, though. According to this study, yearly mammography screenings for women ages 40 to 59 do not reduce breast cancer deaths, even though they make a diagnosis of the illness more likely. According to a long-term study of nearly 90,000 Canadian women, it actually doesn't do anything to help. It's like it's statistically speaking, okay, they have 90,000 women. You know, some of them were checked for breast cancer on an annual basis, and the other half were not. And they determined that being able to detect the breast cancer did nothing to prevent the death. Statistically speaking, it did almost nothing. According to them, quote, "We found absolutely no benefit in terms of reduction of deaths from the use of mammography." They also believe that too many women are being overly diagnosed because a lot of times, just because you do find a lump or some sort of cancer cell in your breast does not mean that there's anything that you should do about it or that you can do about it. According to this, experts have been arguing over the merits of breast x-rays since 2009 when the U.S. government panel recommended that most women under 50 could safely skip the test. Let's see, according to this, the chances a 40-year-old woman would be diagnosed with invasive breast cancer in the next 10 years was 1.44%, and that her odds of dying from it were just 0.19%. So statistically speaking, it's probably not going to happen. And even if it does happen, even if you are diagnosed with breast cancer because of a mammogram, there is absolutely no proof whatsoever that it's going to help. I would say, oh yeah, look, you know what they're telling you? They're saying, oh yeah, thanks to this exam, we proved that you have breast cancer. Excuse me. But there's nothing we can do about it. Either you're going to die or you're not going to die. But we can't actually extend your life by any margin whatsoever. There's nothing to do with it. I find this really fascinating because what it is telling us that women are overly diagnosed. I had a relationship with a woman some years ago where early on in our relationship she started finding lumps in her breast to the point where I was able even to feel them myself, and she would go in for her mammogram on a regular basis, and time and time again, she was just told, nothing's happening. Yeah, you got lumps in there, but they're not doing anything, And it also brings up the other question here, which is that cancer can be caused by x-rays. So let me get this straight. You're giving me x-rays that are known to cause cancer to check for cancer. Okay. Oh my God. And finally, I want to talk a little bit about gender double standards. And for once, I'm not talking about women. I'm talking about men. In our society, if a woman decides that she doesn't want to be a wife and a mother, a stay-at-home mom, she wants to go to work. She wants to work in business. She wants to be a CEO. We see that as empowering. We see that as strong. We see that as very positive. But if a man says he wants to be a stay-at-home dad, well, we think of him as a little bitch. We think of him as being feminine, as being a pussy, a fag, as being weaker somehow. But at no point is anybody allowed to say that being a stay-at-home mom is weak or useless or, year after year, you always get all these studies that come out that tell you how much would a woman make if she were paid for every individual job she does. You have cook, you have cleaning lady, you have nanny, you have sex worker, which is part of what a woman does with her husband. She's a sex worker, she's a prostitute, in a very loose term, okay? She's a tutor for the children. She is a chauffeur for the children. She does the grocery shopping, so she's in charge of household finances. She's an accountant, basically. You take all these jobs together, and people are saying that a woman should be making $250,000 a year if she takes care of all this stuff. But if a man decides to do this, if a man decides that he wants to work from home, he wants to tutor the children, he wants to chauffeur them around, he wants to do the cooking, he wants to do the cleaning, he wants to do the household accounting, well, he's seen as being as less of a man. He's not seen as being, somebody that's worth $250,000 a year. He's seen as a guy that's failed at being a man. He's seen as a little bitch. So there's this continuous split in how we think of gender roles. I personally would have no problems with being a stay-at-home husband. You know, I like taking care of the house. I like doing the cooking and cleaning and the shopping and the household accounting, you know. I do. I enjoy doing it. And the last 2.5 years, I did do it, you know. And I didn't do it all that great because, you know, I'm still a man after all. But, you know, I would say fuck you to anybody that told me that it made me any less of a man. In any case, that is our time today. That's our VD special. Happy VD 2014 edition. That's my time today. We're going to go out with more Papa Ross and his song, Cobija de Amor. I'm Joe the Shirt, and I've been off the cuff. Thanks for listening.
¿Por qué te fuiste así?